on your radio dial. And so you go around interviewing people.
You're going around putting people uptight, is what it seems like.
I bet you've met a lot of famous people in your travels, Howard.
But none as famous as you.
Why, thank you.
This is Luella Parsons in Hollywood.
It must be an exciting career to travel around the country interviewing famous people like me.
Not anywhere as exciting as going around the country putting on people.
Oh, and that is the most, that's the most, shocking thing I've ever heard you say.
I don't know. I mean, really, all kidding aside, I find it pretty hard to get a straight answer. What do you think I was going to ask you?
It's a funny thing. I've noticed that when people are joking, they're usually dead serious. And when they're dead serious, it's usually pretty funny. So I think anything you say means exactly what you say and its opposite.
Looking at my questions, and I feel boxed in. They're all negative questions. You know, and you're gonna...
Are you hungry?
Why do you ask that?
Well, maybe we could order out for some sandwiches or some chicken delight or something. You're not hungry? Or, how about you? Are you hungry? Oh, it's lunchtime. Did you have breakfast this morning? You did? What'd you have?
Oh, little things like chocolate cake and tea here.
Is that all you had?
Yeah.
Hey, you should eat more, Howard.
You put on a lot of weight. Are you eating a lot?
Well, you know, that's something that really bothers me. What's wrong with being fat? That's what I want to know. Why is there such...
I didn't say there was anything wrong with it.
Why is it so onerous to be fat? I don't see anything wrong with fat, you know? I mean, I remember when I used to weigh 185 pounds. I'm the same height. I was the same height that I am now, and I weighed 185 pounds. And I was going to college, and I had this food ticket at the cafeteria. And the cafeteria food is mainly all based on starch. You know, it's cheap food, right? And so I don't know what it was, but in order, I don't know, I just felt like I was, if you missed your meal, you just, you know, I just figured, well, I was getting screwed, right? If I missed a meal, I just blew it. So I'd get up at 6:30 every morning just to make breakfast, right? Eggs and grits and sausages and toast and milk. Okay. Then I'd go do a few classes, and I'd make it in there for lunch. Mashed potatoes. You know, every now and then they'd put a little piece of meat in something, you know. Then I'd go to a few more classes, and then I'd go to dinner, and it was more mashed potatoes. And so about 3 months later, I was 185 pounds. And you know what? I felt so great. I felt like a tank, you know? I felt like a large mammal, a big beast. When I move through the corridors or across the lawn, I just feel like I could knock anybody out of my way, you know? I was solid, man. It's terrible to be thin and wispy because, you know, you could get knocked over by a strong wind or something, you know? Fat is beautiful.
How much do you weigh now?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I guess somewhere in the neighborhood of about 150.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You want to compare biceps? You want that arm wrestling match, Howard? Are you ready? Are you in shape?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the interview's over.
Back at the beginning with the Doors, you seemed to be model of the year. You know, you couldn't pick up a fashion magazine or some magazine without those sultry pictures.
Sulky, too.
Yeah, right. More sulky than sultry.
Sordid?
Sulky.
Well, you know, I was in vogue, you know.
What'd that mean to you, though, you know, at that time?
I don't know, I must have been out of my mind to do that. Can you imagine doing that?
No, that's why I'm asking you.
Posing for a picture? Can you imagine? You know, and really looking in the camera and really posing? It's insane. I must have been out of my mind. If I had the whole thing to do over again, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't.
What'd you think, though, at the time?
I thought I knew what I was doing, you know. I thought, well, you know, I knew what I was doing. And then the horrible thing about a photograph is once it's done, you can't destroy it. It's there forever. So can you imagine when I'm 80 years old and I have to look at myself, you know, posing for these pictures and everything? It's too late. This guy's trying to put me on a bummer, man. That's all right, Howard. Go ahead.
Also, at the beginning, there was all this talk about your sex appeal. You know, about how all women of different ages. In fact, I wrote that in The Voice way before, you know, pretty early.
That's another thing, see? You know, talk gets around, crazy talk like that. What happens? You know? I mean, that's a difficult burden to bear, you know? It really is. Because we all know no one's any sexier than anyone else, right? Everybody's got the same equipment, unless, you know, biologically you got mixed up or something. We're all about the same.
Yeah, but I mean, there you were with the leather pants.
Yeah, it was guys like you, man. It's the reporters, it's the press, people like that create this insanity, you know, that make up this stuff, and then people start believing it, you know.
Why, you weren't consciously playing that?
Hell no.
And you didn't dig it?
Well, I must admit that there were occasions when having a reputation like that did help me out in some tight situations. And plus, I got to meet a lot of groovy ladies that otherwise I would, you know, they probably wouldn't even have noticed me, you know. So, in that respect, it was all to the good.
Before you were talking about college, where'd you go to school?
Let's see. There's so many schools. I traveled around a lot as a child, and I went to so many schools, about one school, different school a year. or every year and a half, I'd go to a different one. I finished up at UCLA.
What, you went all the way to the degree?
Yep.
Did you learn anything? I mean, was it worth going to school?
No, I didn't learn too much. The only reason I did it was because I didn't want to go in the Army, and I didn't want to work, and school was fairly easy for me, so I just kept doing it. And that's the damn truth.
Is there any way that you can see that school could work?
If they have a good library, that's about it. It's, or unless you want to be an engineer, a scientist, something like that, I think you could learn a lot. They have all the equipment and professors and all that, but I think the main key to education is just reading, basically. You could do the same thing on your own.
In performing, you performed in a lot of countries other than here?